How to Create a Glitch Monologues Season 39 Chapter 6. This is Season 39 of How to Create a Glitch in the Matrix Monologues Episode 6. In this episode, we will be linking our discussion of epigenetics and mirror neurons to topology. To start out, the term topological was used to describe continuity between behaviors independent of how the consensual field is shaped. What is meant by that is, the expectations that we consistently meet of others produce topological properties in our consensual field. These topological properties represent traits or behaviors which reoccur regardless of circumstance or context. Now, in the context of behaviors which represent the meeting of expectations, we can be said to have both the genetic trait underlying the behavior and the phenotype, which means we have the epigenetic machinery for expression. Topological properties thus occur because the reinforcement is provided by others through the mechanism of the mirror neuronal system. Now, earlier in the podcast, we talked about how a conjoined expectation field produces a particular kind of consensuality. We also talked about how in the linking of the bodily rhythms of participants, we see the creation of mirroring of certain corresponding releases. So for example, individuals will mirror their outs, such as smoking, or their periods, for women, and this represents a synchronization of their epigenetics. Thus, we can see that topological properties produce conjoined expectations, a consensual field where the expectations of one may compensate for the expectations of the self. How do we explain this? Essentially, what I am saying is, the consensual field becomes conjoined because the expectations we produce of others mirror their own self-attributions. And so, even when their bodily rhythms or epigenetics produce disruption or discontinuity in their behavior, that discontinuity is ameliorated by the expectations we generate and reinforce in them. This is the nature of the conjoined consensuality, a kind of give and take represented by the satisfaction of some status quo, in accordance with narratives generated by others. Narratives are the intersubjective produce of our impulses. They contain the seeds of affirmation, which transform others, exculpating them from the dissonant consensualities they create through their inhibitory impulses. All of this is to say, that when someone becomes recidivist, falling back against previously affirmed impulses, the natural process of the 9 dialogues of the 9 plates is to exculpate them through affirmation of the negated impulse. This follows from the last episode, wherein we discussed how others subconsciously influence our choices through repeated meetings. Multipolar tonic-dominant relationships are the stuff of affirmation, the mechanism through which we are influenced down a particular path away from negation. These relationships also forge the ties of mirrored bodily rhythms, which produce epigenetic reinforcement of the other's consensual field. In other words, the conjoined consensuality that we exist in a state of integration, is the topological property of a process which includes affirmational narratives, the 9 dialogues of the 9 plates, and repeated meetings, generated by bodily rhythm synchronization. That's the end of the podcast for today. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment and subscribe.